Hello appraisers, this is Brandon with Choice Valuation, and in this Spark Spotlight video I'm going to be going over how to manage your market conditions profiles. So first of all, when you load up Spark into the screen where you can see the 1004MC, you'll see in the top right it says Current Market Conditions Profile Standard. That's what you're going to see the first time you use it. So what is a profile, you might be wondering? Essentially, a profile is exactly how you are analyzing data, creating comments, what you're putting into your report. It's basically every setting for Spark, other than the general settings. It's everything about what's going into your report, as far as the charts, what tables are going in, what comments are being built. It's all that information for every single one of these rows. So if I click here and I change just one thing, even if it's just dragging something to a different area, then it's going to prompt me to save the layout. And this layout, how this looks, the way every single checkbox, every piece of data, every setting here, that's part of the layout. And so if I save that, it saves that layout into my standard profile, or whatever profile is shown up over here on the right. So if I hit go back, yeah, I'm not going to save it. And then I click on, let's see, the days on market row. Now this layout, that's part of this standard profile. So if I make any changes here, like let's say I want to look at 60 months instead, and I save that layout, that's going to save into my standard profile. So I think you get the idea. Everything about all these analyses and how you're building comments and all that, that's part of your profile. Now, there are going to be times where you might not want to use your standard profile. You might want to have a different profile. Let's say you just want to customize things, but you don't want to risk messing up your standard profile. What you can do is you can click here on the standard profile, and you can see that's your only profile. You see the library of information here, and I'll get into that in a minute, but you can manage your profiles. And so when you manage your profile, you can add a profile, and what that does is it creates a brand new profile that you can name from scratch. So there's not going to be any information in that profile. There's no comments, there's no analysis. You have to build everything from scratch. Most people don't want to build anything from scratch, so what you would do is you would clone a profile. So I'm going to clone my standard profile, and it just created that, and that's here. Now I can rename it, name it whatever I want. I can remove it, and I can also set it as my default. Now another thing I can do is I can use one of the pre-built Spark library profiles as a jumping off point. So I can click here on standard, and you can see I have several to choose from. Now standard is the one you start with, but I can choose from the neighborhood profile, historic, distress, and alternate. These are things that everyone who uses Spark has access to. So if I want to try the neighborhood profile and just use that as a jumping off point for making my own, that sounds interesting. I'll click that, and I'll hit yes. Now it's adding that Spark library called neighborhood to my profile, or yours in this case, your profile. So now if I click on median comparable sale price, you'll see it looks quite a bit different. Now I've got my competing data analyzed, but also the broader neighborhood data analyzed side by side. And that applies to every chart. They're all side by side. If I hit go back and I look at days on market, then you'll see the same thing. It's all analyzed side by side. Okay, so let's say there's also the historic analysis. I'm just going to show you that one as well in case it's interesting to you. There's some others, distressed, which is what you would do if you wanted to analyze how distressed sales are impacting your market. But historic is what you want to use if you want to analyze how your data looks on a historic basis. So you got the 1-year scatter plot like always, but you also have a 5-year scatter plot. And basically every single row has data analyzed on a 5-year level as well as a 1-year. So same with days on market, analyzed on a 5-year level as well. So essentially the historic and neighborhood are really nice if you're doing your subject property is complex, or if it's rural, and you have very few competing properties to work with. Let's say you maybe only have 5 or even less to work with, then it's hard to know what your market's doing based on that analysis alone for a year. But with historic, then you have 5 years worth of data to look at what the trend is doing. Or when we were looking at that previous neighborhood profile, then you could use the broader neighborhood data as well to kind of help support or help you even know what your market is doing. So anyways, that's basically how the profiles work. Sorry this video took so long, but I hope that helps, and I hope you guys take advantage of the built-in profiles we have, because I think it could be a good way to kind of use that library of profiles as a jumping off point for customizing things and making it your own. Thanks for watching.